It's just when he started asking me like, oh, so do you live nearby? I'm like, yeah, kind of. He's like, all right, so you live with the family? I was like, oh boy. I was like, no, my family is in Kenya, but I do live with my boyfriend.
I think it's the power. There's something about if you don't know how to manage power and how to control yourself, like something that probably is in your face, you don't know how to handle it, you know?
You have to have some sort of traditional values within yourself to think that's a path that you want to take.
Okay.
So if you are a traditionalist, a marriage
by default itself
yes.
defines. Actually, that's true.
Energy crew. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of It Depends, I Guess podcast. I am Jackie.
I'm Caroline.
And at the back we have
DJ.
Welcome back to another episode.
Yes. And because I keep count,
yes,
we are in season 2, episode 14.
Okay.
And thank you for being here with us this long. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging in there as we explore this new world.
Yes.
What are we discussing today?
Femininity
and
feminism.
Yes.
An interesting topic.
Yes. Yeah. Which is already making me sweat.
I'm going to bow out now.
You know, we might put in a little bit about masculinity as well, because you can't talk about femininity and feminism without also
masculinity.
Masculinity coming in there.
Yes. And if we feel like it's not enough, we should have a topic, an episode only on masculinity. Yeah.
I will chime in. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reminding myself not touch this microphone. All right.
Do not touch.
Let us start with your week.
My week. This is an interesting one.
Okay.
Not really interesting, but very funny.
Okay.
I've been on TikTok the last couple of weeks.
Damn, that's the one I was going to talk about.
Wait, how do you know what she's talking about?
Which one do you know?
Okay, you go first, just in case.
What is happening?
I've been watching this cat called Max.
All right.
2049.
That is not it.
Cat. I knew he's out.
That is not it. I'm
Which
sorry.
one are you going to go for?
The young filly.
Oh. That's a downer. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay. Mine is a funny
Let's start with the cat called Max.
Yeah. There's a cat called Max that has a camera on his neck that has been terrorizing a neighborhood of cats.
He's the neighborhood bully.
He's the neighborhood bully. And this cat, so it's apparently, like, I've seen it happen to other cats, and some of them have gained a bit of traction. So they would put a camera, maybe a GoPro on their neck.
I like those videos.
Yes, and then you
GoPros on cats or dogs.
Yes.
Love it.
You can sort of live the life through the lens of a cat, you know? And I was like, okay, just another cat. But for some reason, this cat is... first of all, he runs around the neighborhood terrorizing all the other cats. So he's always in a fight, So he's always fighting other cats. And then he doesn't fight kittens or female cats. So he lets them go.
Come on.
But he would be
like Max. He chases the other one.
He knows. But then he stops over into this neighborhood. Like, for example, there's one where I saw he was in a certain garage. He went and found this other cat. He jumped this other cat in its own garage, in its own house. So it's just a terrorizing cat. It's so funny. But now I think what has happened is that people have come, there have been lawyers who've come to represent that cat. There are people who are saying he's been misunderstood. There are people who are like, no, he's the savior. There's some... It's amazing.
You know, this is what the internet is for.
Yes.
That might be the thing that keeps you on TikTok. I'll go check that out.
Internet
should cat videos.
Yeah, for me, my favorite animal is actually a cat. I've had a cat before. And I would always have a cat in future. Probably by the time I get old, I'll be that cat lady.
Yeah.
So for me, cats, I'm very endeared to cats. So now I'm like, whenever I see the videos of Max, I never skip a video because you
Max.
never know whether he will be
What's
the
his
villain.
handle? Max who?
2049.
2049.
Yes, yes. He's either the villain or he's the good guy. Yeah.
Oh, I heard this statistic
Yeah.
that they say that sometimes if someone happens unfortunately to pass away in their home
Yeah.
and they only had a pet,
Yeah.
if they had a cat, the cat will be fat and alive. If you find the body after weeks.
So it will feed off
Yes.
your body.
But the dog will likely be dying because
Cats are misunderstood.
Are they?
They are misunderstood. They understand.
But they're also survivors, clearly.
Yes, they understand. Yeah, they're misunderstood. Yeah.
Yes, DJ, young
Downer
Philly.
of the week. You know me, I
Yeah.
always have
Oh,
to
man.
bring the mood down.
Please
To
don't.
reality, you guys live in a fake
It's not
state of
fake.
mind.
It's fantasy. You need it.
These are animals. Nobody really. There's bigger things happening out here, and unfortunately, they're
Bigger,
all
darker
negative.
things. It's fine. We might as well live in Catland.
But didn't we say from our last episode about Doom, like
Yeah.
always waking up to
Yeah.
watch the
Doom
Doom
media.
news? Doom
Yeah, this
media.
one I couldn't dodge it.
Yeah,
I
tell
couldn't
us.
dodge
Mo.
it.
Yeah.
Young Philly's in trouble. He's in very big trouble for he's on tour in Australia or New Zealand, Australia or New Zealand.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, and he got I think it was at an after party that he got with some females that he took female that he took back to the hotel room and then allegedly assaulted her. You know, and he's in major trouble, and labels are dropping him. You know, it's very, very, very sad that this is happening because I like this kid, you know.
Yeah.
I think he's funny and he's very talented, but it's just
For people who might not be aware of who
he's
he
a
is.
UK influencer.
Yeah,
Would you call him
he's
an
like
influencer?
he's like a multi-hyphenate. He's an artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a podcaster. He's a content creator.
Yeah.
So he's a big YouTuber. Yeah, him and he has I've watched I think they just launched a podcast a few months ago, right?
Yeah,
With his best friend Chunks.
Chunks and Philly, yeah.
I watch a lot of his videos where he's with he's creating content with Nella Rose because I like Nella
I
Rose.
do like
and so
Nella,
they're
yeah.
also really good friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was shocking to see the news.
Yeah. I don't.
It's it popped up on my feed, and I don't know Young Philly myself, but I remember seeing the description of the allegations of what he had done, and it was very descriptive of
and
the
they
act.
say there's video evidence as well.
What?
Damn.
Yeah, but as someone commented, we should not be shocked about these people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we see these people on like YouTube, on, you know, they seem like, yeah, we know these people. We feel like we know them. And so they seem okay, maybe for the content you watch. But then that's also just, how do I say it? Content that we consume off of like people who vlog or etc. In our minds, we separated them as different from people on TV. So we're able to, when it comes to an actor, we're able to be like, oh yeah, that's an actor. So when we see them on TV, they're playing a role. But then in real life, they can be someone different. But we don't think the same about content creators.
Yeah.
They're not showing us 100% of their lives
And who they are.
and who they are.
Yeah.
So also we need to distinguish that what we are seeing is not necessarily a full representation of who the person is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of based on the comments, people being like, what? Like, this is so. But then, yeah, somebody was saying, no, we shouldn't be shocked because it's like, we don't know these people.
Yeah.
It might seem like we do, but we don't know them.
I like the person he portrayed then.
Yeah.
If he was
The
portraying
character.
the character he
Yeah.
portrayed. So
But I do like how I think we were saying, it's the first time I've seen how they describe, because in many places it would be like, oh, this person has been arrested for rape.
Yeah.
But then in Australia, they phrase it as penetration without consent.
Yes.
And I'm like, when it's described, it's very,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it takes you aback. It's like, whoa.
And even the one that
Sounds
shocked,
it doesn't sound, it's just as bad. It might be worse.
Yeah.
it's worse because even something like choking, there
Yeah.
was part of it, choking, which is people call it strangulation.
Yeah.
Here they were very descriptive.
Yeah,
where
they're
they were
like impeding
putting
someone's
something-
breathing
press-
by pressing on. I'm just like, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's very, very descriptive.
Yeah.
You have no moment to actually misinterpret
Yeah.
what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I think I do like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think because maybe we've become desensitized to words like rape, choking, like, yeah.
Sexual assault,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if he did it, well,
yeah, he should.
suffer the consequences of your actions.
He's actually in Australia and he's not allowed to leave, I think. Probably he's going to serve his term. He's going to get sentenced and serve his term.
Yeah.
there, from what I understood from the content.
I think maybe the trial begins in, like, I don't know when the trial begins. But, if this is behavior he's done before, because again, sometimes I by the time somebody is caught with this kind of evidence, allegedly the kind of evidence, I usually assume it's not their first time to do something like that.
Yeah. They've gotten away with it previously.
Before.
Yeah.
So
My advice to anyone who's listening who might make it big in the music or YouTube world or in the internet spaces, bring your person with you. So if you're going to don't go to somewhere and then look for someone there. You don't know the people you're going to see. So the ones with bad intentions, you don't even understand that they've got bad intentions. You just think that's a fan that's interested in you, so you can go and do whatever to them.
you see, but again, I don't think this
Just
is
in case, I'm just being the devil's advocate here. Just in case he's being falsely accused. Just to avoid that kind of, that part is covered if you bring your own person with you.
But you see, they like the thrill of, if you're a big artist and you have millions of adoring fans, who are throwing themselves at you. I mean, again, I've never walked in somebody's shoes who has that kind of mass following and love, and people are fainting and all these different things, so I assume there's a power trip that comes with it. So when we're on this side, it sounds easy.
Are you going on the premise that he did do it or he's being falsely accused?
No, I'm just going by the premise of what you're saying.
He's being falsely accused.
No. In terms of saying, no, let's put young Philly aside. Even lots of big famous people are always caught out cheating, like not cheating, but out in the streets, right? And
especially when
in situations whereby you're a person with power. So when you're out here, you should move from a perspective of, I'm now a person with power. There's a lot I can lose. So maybe I'm going with the premise of, let's say, I honestly, I think he's not being falsely accused.
Okay, just being fair.
But yes, yeah. But if we go with the allegedly, maybe he's being falsely accused. I don't think in the moment with that kind of power, I don't think you're thinking that, this person can. They're out here to get a check from me or whatever. No one is I don't think in those moments they're thinking that, because otherwise they would move different.
The most, from my understanding about how these things work, there is something about fame that makes you invisible.
Invincible, yeah.
Invisible.
Yeah.
And gives you some
We'll
sort
put
of
subtitle for those who are not. Sorry, carry on.
Invincible is the word. And also sort of, I think it's the power. There's something about if you don't know how to manage power and how to control yourself, like something that probably is in your face, you don't know how to handle it, you know? Like it just goes over you. Reasoning just...
Yeah, it's left the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think we had a conversation before, probably offline, where we were talking about how come people with money, you would think people go for fame because they want the money. But how come people with the money still go
Still
for the
go
fame?
look for the fame. Yeah.
It is the utmost and the power. It is the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
So if you have that, there's something about it that sort of, if you don't know how to manage it, can sort of put you in places you don't want to be in.
Yeah, it's a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrible example, but I'll use the example. Drake, right? With the whole running thing of he likes young girls, right? Allegedly. But you would think, because he's ridiculously famous, ridiculously. He's like, of our lifetime, will probably be like the top 10 artists of our lifetime, right? But you would think, because this has been mentioned once, he would move different, no? Or make sure wherever we are at is people we know. Like, no new people, don't bring somebody we don't know their ID, we don't. But that's not what's happening. So I think there is something about that invincibility of like, this is who I could, because if they have so much to lose.
Yeah. It's a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets you hooked.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're talking about these cases. We have the cases like the Diddy's and the R. Kelly's. I don't know what Young Philly's situation is. But then those ones also, it's not a fit. Those ones, I think there's something wrong with you. If you're somebody the Bill Cosby, somebody who's dragging people, R. Kelly, were truly just a pedophile, that's a different thing. That's not fame or whatever. That's just you're fucked up.
Well, I think also it's the excitement of the moment. I've met some people who are that even bigger than Young Philly, who've decided to travel with the person they want to be with there. So they will fly someone from where they come from to where they are, instead of finding someone in these new cities.
Yeah.
But let me ask.
Or even bringing their girlfriend or wife with them to avoid that confusion.
Here's my question, because this is the thing I don't know if I fully understand. Let's say you're on tour, you're in Australia for a week, 2 weeks. You're telling me the urge is so over, it's 2 fucking weeks. Go back home to your person. Like,
no, but maybe if Young Philly is single though.
Oh, okay. So you're taking like someone like this.
When I say someone, I say bring someone from where you come from. So from the UK to come and meet you wherever he goes. This is not offensive. There are beautiful women everywhere.
Yeah.
If you want an Asian girl with an English accent, you can find that. So you bring that person there. So if you want an Australian who looks different, but you can find an Australian in the UK. But there's no need to go somewhere and think you're going to find something that's unbelievably different from where you come from.
Isn't it the human nature of trying to conquer?
It's true. Yeah.
Because you want to go there and get something that you've not had before that exists there.
That's where people get, I think there's all sorts in wherever you are. I don't understand when people say, oh, we're the most beautiful girls in the world. And then they say, oh, these places or that place. No, I think there are beautiful people everywhere. Everywhere. If you go and look in the right places, you'll find them. Yeah. There's no place that's got more beautiful women than others. No. That's individual to people now. So if you're a certain kind of person, and if that's what you're into, if you go to that place, you might find that there. But there are beautiful people everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's just a lack of understanding of your fame, I think I don't know. You're not understanding that you have more to lose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean I believe this victim. So
you have to.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Because I know it's not an easy thing for
someone to come out and
I would imagine it's quite hard for the woman.
Yeah.
On a brighter note.
On a brighter note. Do I have a brighter note? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Today I got hit on in the gym.
Oh yes.
That's my brighter note.
Out here.
Also, I got hit on 3 days ago.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't say it like that. Like it's something that doesn't normally happen to you
No, but
whenever you're anywhere else.
I always joke. People say, I don't know if I've seen this before, but I always say my demographic, people who hit on me a lot in this Europe are men over 65.
Yeah.
Come on.
Those are my people. So maybe I've not been outside for a while, but I don't understand why men over 65.
Is it the ones who've fuck it, I have nothing to lose?
I don't know, but
like,
see,
because
that's the thing. Sometimes I'm just like, hey, it's nothing to lose, but I'm like, they look at me and they're like, that's the one to hit them. They have nothing to lose.
no, but in terms of at a certain age,
Yeah.
And probably because we are talking of what happens in Switzerland, this is it's a community that people don't talk to each other. You can even look somebody in the eye, they look away. There's no small conversation with strangers.
Yeah, that's true.
So actually being hit on is actually a reality than something happening every day,
Yeah, it's one of those
Yes.
things that you're like, but also,
So now when people get a bit older, they're
Yeah.
like, I have nothing to lose,
Yeah, I
like
might as well.
I might as well talk
Yeah.
to people, and
Yeah.
sort of I like that woman,
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. This is what's funny. First of all, today, when I go to the gym,
Yeah.
I look like a thug.
What are you
nothing-
normally wearing? Nowadays, God
It's just that I don't have those t-shirts for doom. Kills, doodles, death. That's what I would wear. I wear the most raggedy.
Sengenge ni ng'ombe.
Yes.
Out
wear
here,
the most
out here
raggedy.
looking like a stud.
I don't even know if I look like a star. When I go out, here's the other funny thing. Because we went out on Saturday.
Yeah.
When I go out in this Zurich, girls hit on me.
Girls love you. Yes.
Girls, it is. So I'm like, maybe when I go out, I look like a star. I am so confused.
Last weekend there was a girl who was massaging your hair, and I was like, oh,
Literally
wow.
walked in and she came and kissed me on the cheek. I'm like, and Carol was just like, okay. I'm
I
like,
was looking at her like,
Okay.
what's happening?
what is happening? So when I go out to the club, girls hit on me.
you. Yeah.
Now apparently in the gym, it is
The men,
this
the older.
the older, yes. And I think generally I'm maybe this is why also when they when an older person talks to me, again in this society, I'll talk to them because I'm thinking, oh, first of all, they've really gone off the way to come and say hi to me or talk to me.
Yeah.
And they assume maybe some people have not had interaction with somebody for maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days. So I'll be like, oh, maybe you just want to chat with someone. So I'll be like, no, yeah, okay. It's just when he said asking me oh, so do you live nearby? I'm like, oh. I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Where is your
He's like, all right, so you live with the family? I was like, oh boy. I was like, no, my family is in Kenya, but I do live with my boyfriend. He's like, you have a boyfriend? I'm like, yeah. And I thought, okay, that will send him on his way. I moved to the next machine. He followed me.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. He's like, do you really like it here? Switzerland is very boring. I'm assuming for you as an African, it must be. Life there is more exciting. I'm like, true. Which is why many of us go back home often.
Yeah.
Because you need that jolt of chaos
Yeah.
to kind of keep you going. He's like, all right. He's like, yeah, have you been to, I forgot the name of the place he said. I'm like, no, where is that? He's like, oh, it's this island off of Portugal. It's very beautiful. It has black sandy beaches and the good food, the fish is amazing, etc. I'm just like, okay.
Was he offering to take you?
I have no clue.
You weren't asking the right questions. What you should have done,
opportunities.
ask the
Missed
right questions. Say, listen, do you own property there?
Yes. Can I
Can
rent
I-
your property?
Just find out where he's at because you want to check him first because you might be blocking a blessing. here. Take all of us out of poverty. Cancel this podcast now. Cancel. Say,
we've
listen,
moved to
guys, things
Portugal.
have changed.
In the
Moved to
islands.
Portugal.
Yes.
Actually, stay tuned because next week we might not be here.
Oh my God.
We might try again, and then now she's gonna ask the right questions.
Now, I'll look for my sluttiest gym outfit, which probably is a regular outfit, and show up on Thursday.
You know what you do? Buy those, those tights that scrunch at the back?
Up your
the
back.
scrunchies,
Those are the oddest things.
And
I
then
have
make
seen.
sure you wear something short, a little bit short.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the gym
And
attire
not-
nowadays has become completely wild.
Stop
yeah.
looking like a
Yeah.
thug out here. I'm like, in my head, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, does this man see what I look like? And
No,
I'd want
looking at your
sunscreen on the way
face.
out. So
Yeah.
now I'm sweating. And sometimes if your sunscreen is fresh, when you sweat, it leaves white tracks. So I'm just like, this is what he's like looking to hit on. Sir, things must be really bad.
Yeah.
But no, that was cool.
Interesting.
What
Yeah.
else? Oh, wait, before I was going to say something else. Maybe this is content we should do. But I was like, I need to find a podcast of women in their 40s who also have depression and how they're navigating it. Because lately I have a checklist in my head. I'll wake up, I'm like, I feel odd. Then I have to go through a process of elimination of like, what is it? So I'll think first. Am I emotional over random things like baby elephants? If baby elephants don't make me cry, no, okay, it's not my period's coming. So next step, I'm like, do I just feel blue? If I feel blue, I know maybe I'm not having enough vitamin D. So I have to get vitamin D into my system. Then I'm like, then I have to go down, then I'm like, is it perimenopause? Then I have to go and Google. I'm like, does this make me feel, is it my anemia? All right, let me check. I got iron last week.
Iron
so it's
infusion.
not anemia.
Okay.
And it's just like every other day, I'm like, okay, what is this thing? Why am I feeling this way? It is the weirdest.
Like every day is a Russian roulette. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. What are we getting today?
Yes. It is. Yeah. I can talk of days I've gone through that as well.
It is so is odd, but anyway, again, women's health will be a topic for another day.
Maybe before we move on, I've just remembered last weekend we went out. I do love a good
did.
Afrobeats party, and I felt like I got injected with some
that jolt of like get
jolt of
get up,
like
it was so good.
It was really good.
My dear, this is age. You told me on Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Thursday.
You're like, oh, these guys are having something. It's like, all right, okay, we should go. So from Thursday, I was telling myself, we're going out on Saturday. Friday, we're going out tomorrow. Saturday, you text me, you're like, we're still on for today. I'm like, yes, we're still on. I was like, in fact, let me buy the ticket.
Yeah.
So that if I change my mind, I'll be like, but I already paid. But the ticket. I was telling you, I dressed up at 8.
And took a nap with your clothes on.
Yes, because I said, if I have this clothes on and I have beat this face, we are leaving this house.
I was waiting for you to cancel so that I can be like,
remember you text me. You're like, are we still on? I'm like, yes, I am dressed. We better leave this house.
But at least
even if for an hour, we told ourselves, we're like, okay, let's just go. Let's try for an hour. Then we go home.
I think kudos to Zurich in this way. Like whenever I go to some of these events, the biggest demographic of people who show up are actually white people.
Yeah.
And
fascinating.
Yes. And they were on the dance floor, especially the men.
Yeah.
They were on the dance floor, dancing to Asake, dancing to Diamond, dancing to all those artists from East and West and South Africa.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, like
it's so
the
good.
world has shifted
massively.
Yes, the world has shifted, and I love it here. I love it. I love where we've come.
I love it too. It was a good night.
Yeah.
There's a section where there was a Kenyan DJ.
Yes, and he put up the Kenyan flag, and I was so happy.
Two of us screaming like there's 35 or 100 Kenyans in the crowd.
Yeah.
No, it was good. It was a good night.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Wow.
Segue
to our topic of the day.
Yeah. All right. Femininity
and feminism.
And feminism. How do you feel or what do you think when someone talks about or mentions femininity? Or even in what settings do you hear it a lot?
So femininity for me, that phrase has actually become more in my presence in the last couple of years. I never used to hear it a lot. And when I hear that word, I'm thinking about the way you carry yourself, the things that you do, and that is in association to a girl or a woman. So like your physical attributes, how you wear, how you talk, the things that you do, and all those things are maybe either you're very quiet in your demeanor, you know,
You're not
you're very
loud.
empathetic, you're taking care of other people, you're dressing well, and well is relative, you know.
And you dress girly,
Girly, yes. You're not going to the gym looking like
like a thug
yeah.
or a stud.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my studs.
Shout out to them, yeah. So for me, when I hear the word femininity, I actually think of the physical attributes that you show to the world and how you carry yourself, and probably in terms of speech, what you wear, things like that. Yeah. What about you?
Let me tell you.
Am I on the right track according to what?
As per definition, yes. Personally, very few things rub me the wrong way. But when someone talks about, oh, you should be more feminine, there's nothing I dislike more. And this came to mind, like one of my friends recently was mentioning how, sometimes you just have to be more feminine. I was just like, and she's like, she was looking at me, she's like, why do you seem so bothered? I'm like, I don't know why that bothers me so much. And I think it's because in my mind, or maybe how I've been socialized, femininity to me has been socialized as like you're soft, you always need help, and you need people to do things. So to me, it's a
damsel in distress.
Yeah, and to me this is terrible, and I need to work on that. Is weakness.
Okay, that's a big one.
Yes, and I do not know why I like I'm telling you right now. I'm just like, ugh. So someone tells me, "Oh, you should be more feminine. You should." I'm just like, I'm doing everything I can not to punch someone in the throat.
You know, when I hear of femininity, for me, it is actually I need to be more pretty.
See, I don't like that. I do.
I think that's the top thing that would come to my head about being pretty, and now all those things come under like, physical attributes, what you wear, how you look. Yeah. I don't like that.
I absolutely do not like it because I don't think I've done like dug deep enough to understand why it bothers me so much. Just top of mind, I know it. To me, I attach it to weakness, and I'm just like, it feels like when someone's telling me to be more feminine, they're telling me like, why are you being so manly? Why are you being so strong or loud or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know. It
Something
bothers
to
me to no
explore.
end.
Yeah.
So anyway. Yes, so let me go to definition. It's exactly everything that you said.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because then I was just like looking when we were preparing and we were searching for what's the definition of femininity.
Yeah.
It's like a set of attributes, behaviors, roles, and expectations traditionally associated with women and girls. And the characteristics can vary significantly depending on your culture, social settings, and historical context. But it says, broadly speaking, it's linked to like nurturing, the expectation that women are caring, compassionate, gentleness. Femininity is frequently associated with being soft-spoken, kind, gentle in demeanor and action, empathy and emotional expressiveness. So women are seen as being more emotional, emotionally attuned, emotionally expressive, physical appearance. So cultural norms about femininity emphasize certain traits. It lists here such as being slender, graceful, and maintaining a polished appearance.
That's a very Western perspective of being slender.
Yes. Beauty standards related to makeup, fashion, and hair are also often linked to femininity. Interestingly, when I read this in my head, what pops up is Marilyn Monroe, that kind of curvy and soft and high-pitched voice, submissiveness and passivity. So in many traditional contexts, femininity is linked to submissiveness or deference, particularly in relation to men, where women are expected to take on more passive roles in decision-making. Then domesticity. So in many societies, femininity is tied to the expectation that women take on domestic roles of managing the home, caring for children or elderly family members.
Ooh,
Okay. All right.
labor.
Yes. Then I thought,
Yeah. Africa.
let me check what femininity means, not just in an African context.
Yeah.
Pre-colonial.
Yes.
First thing, femininity is a source of strength and power. Okay. So in many pre-colonial societies, femininity was not tied to submission
Yeah, very true.
or weaknesses. It was actually seen as a source of strength. So women held significant power. A lot of our societies were matriarchal or matrilineal. Spiritual power. A lot of women were seen as the custodians of spiritual and ancestral power.
Yeah.
Second, motherhood and nurturing roles. So reverence for motherhood. So motherhood was central to African conceptions of femininity. And because biologically, the women have the kids. So they were seen as life givers that put them on a high pedestal. Then the extended family and communal roles. So there's the child giving part, but also there was the communal caregiving efforts. Then economic and political influence. Women were key players in the economic life in many of our pre-colonial societies. So they were responsible for agriculture, trade, crafts, etc. If you think about it, I know in my culture, like men had multiple wives. The bigger the piece of land the man had, the more wives, because they will till the land.
Yeah.
Right?
And the more children.
Yes.
But they also were when you talk about crafts, like when I think of the things that were being built, like for example, the trays and all that, some of the carvings.
Yeah.
Specifically for homesteads,
Yes.
these were done by women.
By women.
They did a lot of crafting.
Yes,
Yeah.
weaving.
Yeah.
Political power. In a lot of African societies, women held important political roles. Then balanced gender roles and complementarity. So complementary roles were something that were very common in pre-colonial African society. And so femininity was seen as complementary to masculinity, with each gender playing vital roles and interconnected roles in the society. And then there's a lot of partnership between genders in decision-making and community leadership. Femininity was also tied to a lot of rites of passage. So a lot of, because of giving life, a lot of symbolic parts of life were tied to women, like the earth, being Mother Earth, etc. So a lot of those things that were revered for giving forth were associated with like women and women power, and femininity was used in terms of like, oh, we need more rain, we need etc. And then let's see, femininity and the communal ethos. So interdependence and unity. African conceptions of femininity emphasize the interconnectedness of the individual and the community. So women, as much as they're seen as caregivers, also seen as leaders, and they were seen as nurturers. So it was not one. It's a separate thing. They were kind of intersectionality, as they say, as much as the term intersectionality came about recently, but our societies traditionally basically were a good example of that. And they say the summary here is African femininity was complex and multidimensional, reflecting the importance of women in every aspect of society, from economics to politics, spirituality, and the family.
Yeah.
Then a lot of that shifted.
With colonialization and the bringing of religion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But also, what's interesting is I am fascinated by how much I hear this word a lot more now on the internet.
Yes. And I do consume a lot of that myself. And I'm not consuming to regurgitate it. It's more of like I'm interested in sort of what is this they're talking about? Because if you ask me, I was not raised in a society that talked about you're a girl, this is a woman, this is a boy, and these are your roles, and this is how you're supposed to behave. I was not brought up like that. So I'm always fascinated by people who try to define some of that, you know? So when I see some of the content, I sit in to sort of listen in. But what I've understood, my takeaway from all this, according to what has come up recently, most of the femininity content or online info that's coming around is centered on the male gaze.
Oh.
Yes. So you're being told to be feminine so that
you can attract.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a male gaze centered push for femininity.
Yeah.
And also not necessarily for male gaze, is also for something else, which is sort of get a man who's of higher status. So sort of hypergamy sort of content. So if you're very feminine, then are you able to attract a man who's of a certain kind? Otherwise, if you're, they're setting all this hullabaloo and you know.
And in this case, I'm assuming this femininity is also akin to submissiveness.
Yes.
Like that submissiveness is a big part of this push.
Yes.
For the purpose of the male gaze and the purpose of getting the high.
Yes.
Many quotes, high value man.
High value, high honor, you know, however they want to call it. You want to go up the ladder, then you have to. Let me tell you, it's so crazy out there. Hey, let me tell you, it's crazy.
Out there
it's
is
the wild,
here.
wild west.
Out there is here.
There are some femininity coaches who even tell you what nail color you should have. Like you should not have loud colors on your nails. You should wear clothes that are not too shouting. Like when it comes to your physical attributes, you should be, this is what you should eat.
I was going to say very demure. Carry on. Carry on.
Yes. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, it is centered around male gaze, the femininity that I've seen. It is not about raising a strong certain of a woman. It is more of like, be this way so that you can have this kind of a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you get the man, you continue.
Yeah,
Or you
now the thing is
you've gotten him. It's all good now.
No, but you still have to maintain. So you have to maintain these things, you know? So you have to maintain. Imagine me as loud as I am. Yeah. Then I tone down a little bit. Then when I get into the space where now, like, let's say I'm settled, it's very hard to change who you are to the core. And I feel like a lot of people who get into that space because they've put up a certain front, they tend to lose themselves, probably even be miserable because this is not the, like you can't have a downtime. So if you sold the idea of femininity is how you dress, you have your hair done, you have your makeup done all the time, how are you going to do that when you're actually raising like probably 3 kids in the house, you're doing the chores or something, or you have to go to work. And some of this work is not necessarily you have to dress up all the time, you know? Yeah, it's crazy, like the kind of content that exists out there.
I should go into that part of the internet.
Yeah,
I am
it's the
missing
wild,
out.
wild west.
I wonder if does this also play into the traditional wife movement?
The trad wife, yes, I think it does. Because the trad wife movement actually, I think recently I had, it's been popularized by the Mormons because the Mormons have this.
That's
concept.
their way of life.
That's their way of life, yeah. And the trad wife movement is geared towards a homemaker, somebody who looks a certain way, always put together, takes care of kids, baths as many as possible as well. And who is very submissive. Yeah. So it is, honestly, to me, trad wife is whatever you want it to be in whatever Western or African context. But it's more popularized for the Western content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I should say this. I might as well. I like to say a lot of things. The problem, like a lot of what we're going through as women and like all these, like, there's a trad wife movement and it's the femininity movement, sorry.
Yeah.
And there's all these different things. Normally I'd be like, man, this is the patriarchy's fault. But I think this is now the women's fault.
Oh, it is the definitely. 100%.
This is not This is not the dudes.
I think I mentioned in another podcast where I said most of the people who are giving you this advice are women who are the feminine coaches, but because they're so self-focused on the male gaze, it's not the men who's actually telling you this is what we want.
Yeah.
It's the women telling you this is what men want, you know? So yeah, it is being pushed by women. Okay, there's the big, there are 2 or 3 big content creators who everybody knows about, but they do talk about this a lot. Yeah.
Oh, but what? No, okay. I honestly don't know much. I don't think I've consumed much of Andrew, like the Andrew Tates
yeah.
of the world.
Yeah.
What are they preaching? What?
I can tell you some.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So there's one called Shera Stevens. Shera Stevens.
Yeah.
You know about Sprinkle
What
Sprinkle.
the
Have
hell?
you had Sprinkle Sprinkle?
Yeah, I've had Sprinkle Sprinkle.
She's the one who started on Sprinkle Sprinkle.
Okay.
But for her whole ideology is about the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself to the man should be to get a man with money. It's never get a man who's broke. That's her. So always focus on the end goal. We're not getting a person without money. Our goal is, but you have to do these things which are more geared toward Western femininity. So you have to wear dresses. You always have to do your hair. You have to, put on makeup. You can't go looking, a certain way if you want to get. And there are also others. There's another one I saw who's become a bit popular. But the whole sprinkle ideology is around being more feminine for the men and to get the men with money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Tates, what are they preaching? The Andrew Tate? Is it Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's more. From what I understand, he's preaching empowerment for the young man. As far as getting your ass up, getting out of that room with the video games, go to the gym, become what that woman wants. What those A-list make the most money. Then you can detect all the rules are up to you. You can detect what kind of woman you want, when you want her, and how you want her. That make you an higher value
that's
man.
what a high value. Okay.
Yeah, so you can't be a high value man sitting in your house and doing nothing about your fitness, not elevating yourself financially. That is the main thing.
Is
that
this
he
the red pill theory or red pill is the misogyny and
I don't know if he's also part of the red pill theory, guys.
I'm not sure what that is.
okay.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. Now, let me try and bring in feminism.
Feminism, yes.
Yes.
I think we've had that a lot in since the turn of the millennium. Yeah.
Now, the reason I bring in feminism is I wonder if a big part of how I feel about femininity is because of feminism.
Yeah, okay.
In that, now that we've been researching for this episode, I realized my aversion to femininity is the Western description of femininity.
Yeah.
Right? But because I was brought up, we are the people who were brought up the Beijing Women Conference, right? So the context here is that there was, I think it's still there, movements of community, an organization called Maendeleo ya Wanawake. That's in Swahili, translates to progression of women.
Yeah.
Was a grassroots movement that was basically trying to be able to it was feminism. It was a feminist movement.
Yes, it was.
But a local feminist movement.
Yeah.
Right? So this was in Kenya. I'm sure other countries had it in different ways. Then where we mentioned the Beijing conference, there was the Beijing conference and there was a delegation that went. I believe that what makes that one significant, this conference significant, is there was a lot of support for Maendeleo ya Wanawake movement, the Progress of Women movement in Kenya. that got a huge boost, like funding at national level, all these different things.
Yeah.
But I do think what ended up happening is there's also an exchange or an intake of some of the Western ideologies of feminism.
Yeah.
And that was kind of brought back into the country. Now, the reason I say we are a product of that is now we're going through the push of the girl child.
Yeah.
A lot of women are not going to school, depending on the culture you came from, because, well, you'll get to the age where you
get married off.
Once you get your period, all right, you are producing. You can produce now. You go find a husband, whatever, right? And they were trying to push for, no, let girls go to school, empower the girls with education. Empowering the girls with education will empower them down the line economically. When they're empowered economically, they also have a say.
Yeah.
Right? And that was, so we are the product of that, right? So the girl child movement. And post that, when I think about, I do identify as a feminist. But when I dig into a lot of what I have consumed from the feminist movement, a lot of it is a very Western feminist movement. And the kind of the kind of African feminist movement got, I don't want to say corrupted, but it was influenced by the Western one, but there's a lot of tension that existed because then things that may have been important for African women were kind of now in the back burner, and things that were more progressive for the Western women are the ones that
were brought forward.
Right? And because I think I'm a product of that pipeline. To me, femininity feels like it's at odds. The femininity that now I'm learning is a Western femininity.
Yeah.
Is at odds with what the Western feminism is pushing for.
Yeah. So they are clashing.
Yes.
So actually, it is saying the strong kind of a person you're pushing to get in society with feminism, you're countering that with saying, yo, you need to be submissive and small to be able to exist. Yeah, so definitely that's a clash.
It's clashing.
Yeah.
But now that I realize that African femininity is all about being strong, etc.
It is, yes.
It's like, then what are we doing? What are we doing then?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Are we fighting to go back to where we were there? I'm like, then this is, it's the white people.
Yeah.
But this is, I'm like, what are we doing if then that's what we were? I guess what happened is colonialism came in, and in us adopting now religious cultures and Western cultures, if anything, it feels like it took African women back.
It did. It made... It downstepped an African woman, so they no longer had a say because men were now elevated to be even the ones who were like heads of the homes, who are going to pay taxes, there was like something called the heart tax or something. But a family was only noted as a family if there was a man. So the woman had no say. So now you come in and put the woman as none, together with the children, like you're a non-person in that family unit. And within time, the woman became very oppressed. But this was not the original state of the woman in an African, let me say in my culture, which is Kikuyu. Yeah.
It's like, then what the fuck are we doing? Why? What are we doing?
So feminism actually is trying to bring back to who we were.
Where we were.
Who we were originally.
Where my great-grandmothers were at.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Yes, because when you imagine of it, like we were a matriarchal kind of system that existed. Yeah.
This just blew my mind. I'm just like, clearly what I'm learning in this episode is I am more feminine than I realized. I would never have described myself as a feminine person. No. No. Because I just never saw any attributes in there that were
so
redeeming,
feminine person in an African culture context.
Yeah.
Not feminine in
In
the
the Western culture,
I think
then I'm not.
I think that should be the biggest
Yeah,
takeaway of
yeah.
we need to separate those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are completely two different ideologies.
I'm annoyed.
And the fact that feminine and feminist are two different things.
Yes.
I'll take that with me.
They actually clash.
They actually clash.
Yes.
I'll give it up. There you go.
All right. So wait. Okay, no. I wanted to get your take on feminists, the feminist movement, and how that's like impacted your life.
You know,
Positive, negative, whether you subscribe to feminism or it has confused you along the journey.
you know when I hear something like feminism from a personal context of how I grew up, I didn't grow up in a state where I thought I had less opportunities or I had more responsibilities because I looked like this, I was a woman. I grew up in a very equal household. Actually,
I'm curious, when you went outside,
yes.
because I think I grew up similar.
Yeah.
It's only now when I'm with like cousins or family friends that I'll be like,
No, for me, no. None.
that's interesting.
Because even in our, let me say, my extended family, the women were very strong women in however they existed in the society. Like my aunties, they're the ones who called the shots, progressed the family, I never felt like the woman is part of our family unit or the girl child was at any point disadvantaged. That was never a narrative that was actually visible to me in my small circle or even pushed to me. So for me, I heard about feminism in the media, where now people started talking about the Beijing conference. But now I understand it from like there were communities, like when you talk about the Maasais, when you talk about
See, I grew up in the Maasai area.
Yeah, probably. So there, or even more northern of Kenya, women were sort of girls at 14, 15, they were getting married off. They never had a chance to go to school. So there were, now I could hear from a larger perspective of, oh, you mean not all girls have the same opportunities that I have? There are actually girls who get sold off as wives, And I sort of now started realizing, oh, actually, this does make sense now. We need to push for these girls to have the same opportunities as me. So, but in my own small circle, feminism was not a thing. If I ever lived in that bubble, I would never have talked about feminism.
That's fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. So I only noticed when it was outside of our house.
Yeah.
And by virtue of like our tribes, so for us, our people were very, very far away.
Yeah.
So I used to be around like maybe my parents' friends and their kids a lot more than like relatives. My mom is, you all know my mom. You know my mom.
Yeah.
So very, very strong woman.
Yeah.
So it's only that when now I was around other families that I was just like, oh, something is different. And this is how I would notice is we would be somewhere and then I am called and I'm told to go get blah, blah, blah for my brothers. I'll be like, these niggas have legs. They can go get the things that they want to get, right? But then it's like, you could see how somebody is just like, this child is so disrespectful. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm being called disrespectful. And I'd even like ask my brothers, were you told to go get whatever the thing is, right? And it's just, I used to be like, this is something.
Like you're the one to be there to serve your brothers.
Yes.
When you're in these spaces now outside.
Yes. Because then I could see my female friends, they would go serve their brothers or go serve their fathers or whatever. I didn't have that. So when we're at home, I never. So then now when we'd go places and I'm just like, why is this a thing? And why am I... And I think it stuck out because it used to always be labeled like a problematic... like, this girl has no respect.
Yeah.
So I never used to understand what is this? then now as I grew older, I was like, I knew people who we finished high school, like we're going to college or whatever, and they were held back because no, the boys have to go to school. Then if there's anything left over now, we might take you to college. And it's like smart people. So I was just like, what do you mean? And I like, then now it started kind of dawning on me. Now I'm grown and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because then you, at that time, now you're kind of, you're going to college. So you're comprehending the world, right? Even now, high school, post-high school, you're comprehending the world and you're reading about, they've now outlawed like marrying off young girls and these things sound to you like things from places you have never seen. So it's just like, oh, it's this world over there. But then now I would see friends being held back from like going to pursue things further because no, the boys have to go to school. Then I was like, oh, wait. This is what's happening. Yeah.
When you talk about that, it sort of makes me think about those were very subtle things that probably happened. I may not have noticed them, but they may have happened in my own society. But I always attributed them to an age thing. For example, if my brother is older, of course he'll be the first one to go to college, and then I would be second or something like that. But I can't remember in very specific instance where I saw somebody younger, like a younger brother overtaking the older sister. It's very weird when I think about it, but I grew up in the village. But I think even back then, like, I don't know, the Kikuyu women had, I don't know, I think they used to say everything in the family. The men sort of had less say than the women. I don't know. So sort of my observation, but
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It is.
And why do you think they were doing that? What was the purpose? Why is it like that?
For what, like the people who are being
girls,
held back?
Yeah, like for girls to be, for you to be serving your brothers and have male figures are the ones who are served and stuff like that. Why do you think it was like that?
Because we were being nurtured since young to be wives.
Yeah.
Like this is you're being taught this is your role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the men are the respected ones and the ones who are, even I didn't even know, because in our family, even until now.
So for those who want to get married, then that is a pathway that they should abide by.
So back then it was not if you want to get married.
But it was
the expectation is you will get married. But that's even why education wise, even girls would get to, if the law forces that girls have to go to school until 18, secondary school, they would put the minimal effort until 18. Because their reasoning is you're going to be married off.
Yeah.
So why are we investing? But the boy is carrying on the legacy.
Yeah.
He's the one who'll take over businesses or kettle or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So family name.
Yeah. Yes. So that, and yeah.
But maybe there's a thin line between serving others and respect. I think this is what I wanted to say. Because, for example, I've been in situations within my family setup, like we have an event or something, and we are the ones cooking in the kitchen. But we go serve the elders, we go serve the men and the women. But if I go, we never tell the men, go serve yourself food. We always bring them the food to the table. So I don't know if that is respect.
Me, I think I'm just disrespectful.
But I can't find myself, like even for my dad, like I could never tell him like if I go and cook or something. Yes, if we are at home in our own setup, family setup, everybody serves themselves.
Yeah.
But if we are in a place where it is us who've cooked, we've helped organize the event, of course I serve the men. So is that being feminine or is it just respect?
I don't know. So because I see in our family what happens is the wives serve their husbands.
Same to my place,
Then it would be like if my dad was present, like, yeah, you'd ask, oh, what can we get you? Right? So there's the elders part.
Yeah.
But no, this what I'm talking about is not elders. Like, my brother gave me example. He went for a thing somewhere. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. And he was like, so you know how there's the event is happening. There's a part where there's speeches are done, etc. Then it's like, oh, the food is set up. People can go like get food. So he was like, oh, so we're going to line up. And this female came and was like, oh, no, why are you? No, sit down. What should I get you? Right? And my brother was commenting and saying, he's like, Jackie, that would never have been you. I'm like, never would have been me. But you see, in that culture, it's not just, that's why even as kids, yes, they would serve their brothers. And I used to be like, because my brothers are like, we are all kids.
Yeah.
But it's
kids should not be serving each other.
Yes, but it's because you're serving the boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I think, a part of respect exists. And I think in our African setup, even if I go to any space, even if I find somebody elderly or, they're seated down, I will serve them the food because we are probably not at a dining table where the food is put in the center.
Be served, yeah.
Yeah, it is probably you're seated in an open space. You don't want your grandfather, or your uncle to be queuing with other people. Maybe they're not even that comfortable with their walking stick. And
even if they're not that old. If you're met my uncles or my aunts or whatever, it's culturally, it's respectful to be like, can I help you with anything?
Yeah.
Right? Even if they might have house helps, etc. But you're still like, oh, can I?
Yeah.
Or like carry food to the table, or people need to wash their hands. You'll go help them wash their hands.
Yeah.
There's things like that. But this one for like, this was different.
Serving
we were kids
because you're kids, and
because it's because these are the boys who will become the men.
That's completely.
That was the.
I hope it doesn't happen nowadays.
I honestly, no comment.
Cool.
No comment.
No, it's not the submissive part. I don't know, like, if someone even wants to go that direction of being married, you have to have some sort of traditional values within yourself to think that's a path that you want to take.
Okay.
So if you are a traditionalist, marriage
by default itself defines. Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
Because marriage, I guess it's however, right now maybe it's more religiously influenced, dictates and says women should be submissive or whatever.
Yeah.
So marriage itself is structured as this traditional institution, and these traditions are based on these tenets that assign these gender roles, right?
Yeah.
Which for Africans, pre-colonialism, those roles were mixed roles.
Yeah.
So
and were purely focused for economic reasons.
Yeah.
So that's why people were getting married.
Yeah.
So if you subscribe to the Western type of marriage, I guess, you have to.
But even now, African marriage, because now it's corrupted, it's all the same.
Yes. But most of the African marriages are actually just a Western marriage.
Yeah,
incorporated.
true.
Yeah.
Incorporated. Western marriage Inc. That's funny. Okay, and then on feminism. Do you have any thoughts on feminism? Now, equality and equity and...
Yeah, I think it should be fair. I don't, I don't think it should be fair. I think it should be fair, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
You do identify as a feminist?
Yes, I do,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I do know the meaning of fem. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
No, yes. Feminist, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then not... Yeah, okay.
All right. Maybe I end with an open question to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just tell us, what does femininity and feminism mean to you, like in the world now?
As it exists.
It exists. Or are you like me who's also learning that I was anti-femininity, but turns out I was anti-Western femininity. And pre-colonial African femininity is completely opposite of what you're being sold to.
As femininity now.
Yes,
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great question, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think many people have thought of it that way. I know for sure I haven't. Like,
I won't lie
when
to you. I didn't either.
Yeah, when I consume or when I see this content on femininity, there's nobody who's ever talking about the other side of femininity in terms of what existed before
Yeah.
the Western kind of femininity was introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Great.
And what I've learned is maybe I don't know if I should be a feminist anymore. Because we're going back to what we should have.
It is our default setting.
Yeah, we were. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. That is my learning from this. I'm so annoyed.
Your default setting.
Yeah.
The whole feminism.
We were so much further.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway,
So
thank you all for joining us on this journey of discovery.
we discover as we go.
Yes.
Yeah. See you on the next one.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.